In 1958, I think you know where this is going.
Go ahead.
When Walter O'Malley.
Oh, God.
I know. I know. This one cuts deep. When he moves the Brooklyn Dodgers to Los Angeles, and he does it for corporate greed and profits, and he doesn't care about the community that built up that team.
That's right.
It broke a young Brooklyn boy's heart, probably many.
Yep.
It seems like, and it could be a coincidence, that ever since then you've had it out for the billionaires. Is that where it all started?
But I'll tell you something. Two things. There was a joke going around my neighborhood, Flatbush, and what it said, the three worst people in modern history were Hitler, Stalin, and Walter O'Malley. And not necessarily in that order. Right, that was the joke. But, you know, what I did learn...
In fact, he's first.
You're kind of joking about the question.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something. When you grow up as a kid, you have a thing called the Brooklyn Dodgers, right?
Of course.
It's Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when you're a kid, the idea that it could be moved someplace
It's
else.
insanity.
When you're a kid, you can't, that it's privately owned,
Yeah.
run for profit, and that it can be moved to California was literally beyond your comprehension, beyond my comprehension. So it was a real shock. And if you're asking me, did that have an impact on my political views? It did, actually. It did. Because the Dodgers were a cohesive force in Brooklyn, bringing people together, Jackie Robinson, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So yeah, that had an impact on me.
Really? So it all starts there.
I don't say it all starts there, but I learned something from that. That again, I mean, you think about it. He was something so important.
Yeah.
There's so many people. This guy didn't give a damn. To make more money, let's go to California.
And was it simple as that? Like there was just a better deal out there?
There was a huge market out there in California, right?
Right.
Everybody, they can make more money.
I think he starts baseball on the West Coast.
Yeah, he and the Giants guy.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And was it, I don't know, I mean, we don't have to get too much into it, but I heard Robert Moses was pushing back a lot on rebuilding of a stadium. That could be bullshit.
No, but
it doesn't matter.
Well, that raises a whole other issue, but, you know, sports and professional sports and all that stuff. But, yeah, it was a big deal.
That's your first exposure to corporate.
And, you know, what you're seeing today, and it's something we haven't looked at enough, it's something I want to, is it hasn't really changed.
Right.
You have what is the function of professional sports? All of these teams are owned by billionaires.
Yeah.
And if Baltimore doesn't give you enough money, you're going to move someplace else. And no matter, you know, you break the hearts of kids, nobody cares.
Can I ask you a question about that? Like, why is it the city puts up money for these new stadium builds and we don't get any of the equity in the team?
That's very good. Well, now you're raising another question. I was mayor of Burlington, and Burlington, Vermont. We'd love everybody to visit us in Vermont. And we had no professional baseball at all. When I got elected way back in '81, I said, one of the things that I want to do is see if we can bring back
Move the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Well, that was a little bit too ambitious.
That's how you silence Bernie. Okay.
But could we bring professional baseball? So we got to work on it. And we ended up getting I think it was a double-A team, very good team, in the Cincinnati Reds franchise. And we were talking hard about how we can municipally own it. And we actually...
Oh, wow.
Love it.
Yeah, and we would have put public money into it. We would have made money off of it and all that stuff. We ended up losing it on the city council, but it was an effort that we tried to make. Anyhow, we brought the team in. It was really good for the community. But years later, they left, et cetera, et cetera. But the idea that taxpayers are putting huge sums of money...
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
If school systems are falling apart, they're putting billions of dollars or huge sums of money to build these huge stadiums. These guys make a fortune. And then, 10 years later, they move out.
And then there's this excuse that they all use. They're like, yeah, but we're providing jobs. And it's like, yeah, so you could have a business that functions. You can't have a basketball team that functions without people working there.
And
you're not doing it benevolently.
Jobs are part-time, low-paying jobs, by the way.
Right.
So it's this whole thing of professional sports owned by a small number of very wealthy people is something that... What's the irony of that? You want to go to a Red Sox... We go to Red Sox games. You go to Yankee games. How much does it cost to take a family? If you're a husband, wife, 2 kids...
Hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. You buy a Coca-Cola, it costs you $5, $10, whatever it is. I mean, that's kind of crap. I mean, when I was a kid going to Ebbets Field in Brooklyn, you remember Ebbets Field? Do you know what it was?
No, I'm a little bit younger than you. Yeah.
I called himself a New Yorker.
Ebbets Field was where the Dodgers played.
Yes, of course. Yes.
All right,
yes,
you were kidding.
Yes, absolutely.
So we used to sneak in and get 60 cents, sit in the bleachers. And during that period, a family could go to a game.
Yeah.
And now it's, pretty hard.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. It really is. Great athletes out there. People want to see them.
Yeah.
can't afford it.
And also, in that time, you saw Jackie Robinson play. Is that true?
I remember. Yes, I did.
What was the energy like in the stadium watching Jackie Robinson?
What I remember about him when he was older.
Different Brooklyn back then.
Yeah.
What we used to do is hang out after the games to see if we got autographs. And I remember him coming out. He had problems with his ankle or his foot or something. He came out holding his shoes.
Yeah. How'd you know it was Jackie Robinson?
Oh, hard one. But I mean, you talk about impact as a kid. We used to do, this is true. I mean, the Dodgers were like your family.
Yeah.
So I can tell you today, the Dodger lineup. How's that?
Wow.
Everyone here, Gil Hodges at first base?
No.
Jesus! What the hell do you people do? I told you the educational system is falling apart here.
I'm we didn't learn
All right.
You can't name the
Gil
Yankees starting
Hodges
lineup
first
now.
base. Gil Hodges is a great guy, very quiet guy. Later, he managed the Mets years later. Junior Gilliam, nothing.
Yeah.
Pee Wee Reese, shortstop.
Now you're just making guys up.
That name I know. He was, I think, very friendly with Jackie Robinson, right?
Yeah.
He really took him
the
under.
movie they probably played it up a little, but he came from Kentucky.
Yeah.
He's a Southern, and at that point, a lot of racism, and he befriended Robinson.
Yeah.
Third
At that
base was
point.
Billy Cox. Left field was Gino Mansky. Center field was Duke Snyder. Probably heard of Duke Snyder. Right field, Carl Furillo. Roy Campanella catching. Bunch of. So I can remember. Now, what's my point? I can't remember what happened yesterday, but I remember that stuff from a long time ago because it was an integral part of your life.
Yeah.
And what you remember, all right, the Dodgers are 2 games out of first place. Preachero is pitching. Robinson is batting, 308. If he gets 2 hits, we knew what the averages were. You learned arithmetic.
Through baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could, as a kid, most of the kids on the block could tell you how many games the pitchers had won, who they were playing.
I think now we call that autism.